So it sold for $79,900. Put 33 into it. It came after taxes and commissions. We made. Hey, what's going on, everybody? I got a little time here while I'm working. Not working. Hardly working. Got the home away from home behind me, Home Depot. I just have a few minutes to kill here before I have to be to a property that I work at. I'm a property technician, maintenance technician. Anyways, that's not what I'm here to say. I'm here to tell you how I flipped my first home and how it can never be done again and how it almost screwed me and what you need to do so that you don't get screwed in case this happens, especially in New England, which has a lot of old homes. So, this is going to be a quick summary. I'm thinking I'm going to put some pop-ups here of pictures and stuff. I'll try my best to have pop-ups and pictures right here. It's kind of set up that way. So, this was 2019, okay? It was a different time for real estate back then. In northern New Hampshire, we have small towns up in the middle of nowhere, and there is a town called North Stratford. North Stratford has about 700 residents. Yes, 700 residents. It has no police station. There's no police. It's not patrolled. It's governed by the New Hampshire State Police. So there's no police or anything. There's one store. Up the street from that store, the only intersection in town, there's no stoplight. There's only a blinking light, I believe, a yellow blinking light. Just up the street from that store in North Stratford is the property in which I purchased. It was listed for $25,000. It might have been $30,000 now that I think about it. It might have been listed for $30,000 cash as is, built in 1900, but it was something like 4-bedroom. It was like almost 3,000 square feet. It's a big house. Tiny little lot that it sat on. It interested me, so my father said, go take a look at it. Now, backstory as to how I got my funding. My father, yes, my daddy bought it for me, but listen, I'm not like Donald Trump and got $1 million loan from my father. My father has been in real estate for my entire life, his entire life. It feels like 30 years now. He's still, to this day, he's 70-something, 73, and he owns 20-plus properties, rental units, building 2 homes. Like, that's just what he does. He is one of your wealthy but don't know it people. Doesn't drive a nice vehicle, doesn't wear nice clothes, has a nice house, but, you know, he spends his money modestly. So the only way he's really going to spend money, and has a strict policy of don't work with family and wouldn't want anything to come between our relationship. So he's putting it all out there, really. Said that he would take this money that he had set aside and purchase this home for me. I went up there and saw it. And it was, I had a great vision for it. It was old, built, like I said, built in 1900. It had some built-ins that were beautiful. It had a dining room that opened up to the Connecticut River. I'm going to put some pictures up here. Dining room that opened up to the Connecticut River. Beautiful French doors that followed the hardwood into the living room. It was right on the road, but a plus for it was that it's the town south of the biggest OTV area in the state, which is huge around here. OTV, ATV, 4-wheeling side-by-sides. They all come up. They have 2 big meetings a year. We were right there. In fact, right down the street, 1,200 feet, was a trailhead for OHRVs, off-road vehicles. And the highway, the road that went right past the front of the house, was dual purpose. So you could park here and literally legally drive your side-by-sides on the road down to the trailhead, which went to Canada, and thousands of miles of trails. So it was huge selling points. We took the plunge. My dad bought it, and I was going to do all the renovations. Renovations were normal things that you would do to a house that was 100 years old. Flooring in the kitchen. It had this weird island I ripped out. It had like a weird pantry with a window in it, so I just covered the window, and it had a big pantry in the kitchen, which was cool. 2-bathroom. So I redid the flooring in the kitchen, took out that. Oh, there was some water damage from just being 100 years old, and the add-on, how the add-on didn't go together. It got some water damage, so I fixed all the water damage. It had some water damage from the roof in the upstairs bedroom. I fixed the roof. I fixed the ceiling of the bedroom. All hardwood all throughout. Every bedroom upstairs, because this house was built forever ago, and it's all original hardwood. So the place was beautiful. It was just a really small lot. There's a tree hanging over the back that was really kind of sketchy. But anyways, we went forward with it, and my father took care of all of the to-dos, like he's been in real estate his whole life, so getting title insurance and all this stuff when getting the home. So we got it. I started doing work on it. All of a sudden, we got a call, stop all work. There has been a lead claim against this property, and there needs to be an abatement. The previous owners from 2009, 10 years prior, did not file an abatement. And so we had to get lead tests. It did have lead paint. So we had to get this lead paint abated. Covered up is really what it was. It was they used special paint and siding, covered up everything. My initial plan was to do the siding. I had already started to do the siding. It was like 3/4 done. The siding was. I was covering up asbestos siding, and I got halted. So we had to get a licensed lead abatement renovator to get in there. 2020, COVID hit. So it was a crazy situation. We ended up finding a guy to do it for $25,000, siding the house and painting the windows. It would take 3 weeks, he said. He stayed in the house with his help. There was like 4 dudes that stayed in the house while they did this, because it was COVID. You couldn't go anywhere. You couldn't do anything. So they drove all the way up here in the middle of nowhere. I think they were from Connecticut, actually. And they drove up here to the middle of nowhere and slept and stayed in this house. And got it done. And the savior was the title insurance. The title insurance saved our asses from having to pay $25,000 to get the house sided and sealed and abated of lead paint. So always get your title insurance. It was the title company's fault for not catching that. That's how that works. So my dad filed a claim with the title insurance. They went back in and they found that yes, there was this claim made in 2009 that there was lead paint, and there was no abatement, and that was something that they missed, being the title company. We did rush them right along. I think it was like a 7-day closing. I think we had. But anyways, they missed it, so they had to honor it, and they covered. I think they covered $27,000. And it came to like $25,000. That's how I think that worked. So, side of the house, I took care of the insides. The inside was okay. It was the exterior, actually, that tested positive for lead paint. The exterior windowsills. You'll find that a lot in New England. And the corner boards and the fascia, that was all lead paint, or had lead traces in it, because it had been painted over. But yeah, that's the moral of the story, is to always get title insurance when purchasing a home, especially when it is such an old home, because pre-1978 everything was lead paint. So other than that, everything went pretty smoothly. I listed it so we purchased it for $25,000. We put all of that into it. We put about $7,000 into it, not including the 25 to do what they did. Like I said, the flooring, some other things. So I listed it for, we had about 33,000 into it total. I listed it for 99,000 because real estate was going up. This was 2020. It was almost at the housing bubble that burst and houses went through the roof. It was just before that. And I think this person knew it, but they had a HUD loan. So anyways, 2 weeks went by. I lowered the price $10,000 to $89,900. 2 more weeks went by. I lowered the price another $10,000 to $79,900, and I got a full price offer, a full offer at $79,900, 10-day close, but it had to meet HUD specifications. So I ended up having, this was 2.5 hours away from my home. That's another thing that you need to know, is buy something close to your house, because this property was 2.5 hours from my home. So I would take weekends and go up there and stay at a campground or stay at the house. There was nothing in it, so I would like to stay at the campground most nights, but a lot of nights I would work till 10, 11 at night and sleep right at the house. And because it was so far back and forth, it was like a 5-hour trip, round trip. So while we were trying to get this house sold, it was HUD standards. So the HUD person had to go in, HUD inspector. There was outlets that weren't grounded because for HUD, every room has to be on a GFI, every bedroom. So I had to change breakers to GFI breakers. I had to do handrails, of course. HUD and their handrails. I don't know. HUD is like obsessed with handrails. What else? What else did HUD make me do? Oh, HUD made us get a licensed electrician to check most of the house had been switched over. That's why we struck out here too. I mean, not struck out. We hit a home run too with the heating worked and was not that old. The plumbing had been redone, and the previous owner, 9 years prior, had pulled new electricity. So it wasn't, originally it was post and beam, just post and knob. Post and knob. And if you don't know what post and knob is, super old, super dangerous, super fire hazard. And there was still some working knob and tube. Knob and tube? Post and knob? I don't know what it is. Anyways, there was some of that in the attic that was still alive. So in New Hampshire, it's grandfathered in that if it has it, you can have a minimal amount as long as a licensed electrician goes in and states that it's still good. So my father has a licensed electrician ready to go. The guy came up, boom, yeah, it's good. And so the electric and everything was good, but I did have to switch out those breakers, handrails, and we had to get a licensed electrician to sign off on the knob and tube. And I think that's it. I think that's all we had to do for, and then the only request by the new homeowner was that we get a new oil tank, because the oil tank was older, and I don't know, I think it might not have passed inspection. So we paid like, it was like $600 to get a new 200-gallon oil tank in the basement. And we did that, and I think my dad had it so that she had to pay that back at the time of purchase. So I think we get that $600 back. So all in all, so it sold for $79,900. Put 33 into it. It came after taxes and commissions, we made $66,000, and my dad gave me a check for 30 grand. So I doubled the profit. I doubled the value of the home. In about, it would have been a few months, but it was about a year due to COVID. So really, really hit hard with that first one. Then after what I did after that, I bought a piece of land, a small piece of land for like 5 grand. I put that most of that money in the bank, and bought a piece of land for 5 grand, sold it for 10 grand. And that's kind of where my real estate journey has ended so far. Since COVID, real estate's been through the roof. You cannot find a cheap off-market home anymore. That just doesn't happen. Everybody who knows that. Unless it's destroyed and it needs like $300,000 worth of work. But hoping that kind of changes somehow, some way. Don't know how it's going to happen, but hoping that changes so I can jump back into the game. I would love to make some of those big checks like I did before. I'm doing very well now. I feel good about the future. However, I do really want to get back into real estate. I would like to do a multifamily unit and have rentals. So that's where I'm headed, and that's my story about my first flip home and how much I made, and little tips for you along the way. So my name's Caleb Anderson. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.